Samyang are really hot on the heels of Sigma, Tamron and even Sony right now. They have been making lenses for over 50 years now, but only recently with their new autofocusing lineup of Sony E-mount lenses, they are making a proper stir on the market. These new lenses have some issues which vary from little optical niggles that will be for sure fixable with the future firmware updates to some hardware problems that some users are reporting and might be more concerning. The thing is that Sigma and Tamron had issues too in the past. Samyang's new lenses are new and they will eventually get these things all sorted out. But for now, they are cheaper than all the competition in this class and they still deliver amazing quality and specs. This 35mm f1.4 Mark II is no exception. Very practical prime focal length and one that certainly packs a punch. So to find out more about it, keep watching, don't skip to see lots of samples shot with it and to find out my final thoughts about this lens. Samyang, known as Rokinol in some parts of the world, are a Korean brand. A brand not new to the market and a brand that has certainly upped their game and updated their catalog to be noticed and compete with all leading brands making lenses for Sony cameras right now. This is another decent prime from them, a lens that can surely deliver great results and one that ticks a lot of boxes. Shooting with it in real world situations is good. Just like other Samyang lenses, the quality is very good. The images are sharp and the color and contrast are good too. However, pretty much all images had to be tweaked a touch more than usual in post. It's like the sharpness is there, but you might need to bump it up now and then a bit more than with images shot with other lenses. I feel also that there's slightly too much contrast in images shot with it, but again, this is very easy to rectify in post. There is some chromatic aberration visible wide open. Not unusual at all. Flaring is pretty much under control and the bokeh is smooth and very much on par with more expensive f1.4 lenses from Sigma or Sony. The lens gets significantly sharp and all-round better performer when you close the aperture even a bit. This again is pretty much standard with all ultra-wide aperture lenses in this class. Autofocusing performance is very solid when taking photos. The linear stepping motor STM does an excellent job when autofocusing. The system works very well even when shooting fast-moving subjects wide open. You might notice differences in performance, very small differences if you compare it to Sony G Master lenses side by side, but on its own, this does an excellent and consistent job. Need to mention that acquiring focus, the actual lens's ability to track and nail the focus in the right place is one thing, but the final result and what is captured in the camera is another. This lens's performance, what it does deliver, is a little bit different. As I mentioned before, the sharpness very often needs adjusting in post to get the most out of it. Also, the sharpness suffers a tiny little bit when shooting at the minimum focusing distance wide open. It's not bad, it's all relative of course, as when you get closer to your subject the background will blur more, you'll get more depth of field. Your point of focus, even though it might be even so slightly softer, it will be the sharpest thing in the frame and looking relatively okay. Minimum focusing of only 29 centimeters allows you to get really close to your subject for capturing better close-ups and for getting more of that subject to background separation when using wide apertures. Great lens for filming with very good focal length, and its weight makes it very usable on a gimbal. It performs very well on all fronts. No issues with eye tracking or autofocusing on the main focus point. I didn't experience any focus hunting or strange behavior, and there's literally no focus breathing visible. Built not the smallest 35mm out there, but still a decent size. It weighs 659 grams, not record breaking but totally respectful for a modern lens of this size. Filter thread of 67mm and a full weather sealing, and it rocks this stylish modern design slash look. The focus ring is large and super smooth. There's a focus hold button that can be customized to different functions via the camera. I always have this set to eye select so I can quickly choose which eye, left or right, the camera focuses on with just one press of the button. You also have a custom M1 and M2 switch. This is a bit unusual. By default it switches between autofocus or manual focus if your camera is in the manual focus mode and aperture control. In this position you can change aperture setting with the focus ring. There is no standard auto manual focus switch, but this custom switch can be customized to different functions via optional Samyang lens dock, which you have to buy separately, and it is an extra cost. Price: very good value for money. It retails here in UK for £636 or $799 in US. It is the cheapest f1.4 wide aperture 35mm on the market right now. The only way you could get yourself a cheaper and in fact smaller 35mm is by going for f1.8 or f2 models. Not the same. This, even with few very minor niggles that I have mentioned before, is a very good performer, and this price makes it a very good choice if you need 35mm prime in your arsenal for your Sony camera. Conclusion: it's a lens that, like all other new Samyang lenses, should really surprise a lot of purists. It's a lens that can deliver outstanding results, it is very competitively priced, looks great, and it is built very well too. 35mm is a very universal focal length out of all primes. It's not exactly wide, but wide enough to shoot in smaller spaces indoors, and although it is not standard like 50mm, still great for capturing standard look when shooting photos or videos with. It basically doesn't do wide angle distortion, but it does give you a look similar to 50mm any day. This makes it more suitable as just one lens for when shooting portrait, environmental portrait, products, food, interiors, landscape, and so much more. 35mm is loved and used by so many photographers around the world as their main lens for everything, for a reason. This new version 2 of Samyang's 35mm is good. There's more good about it than I can complain or whinge about, and all the niggles are so minor that are not even worth worrying about. I recommend it. Check it out if you can. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. And this is it from me. I hope this video was in some way helpful or informative. If it was, please give me the thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. It performs very well. It performs very well on all fronts. So many words in one go. It weighs and if you're wondering what am I filming this with, this is filmed with the Sony a7S III and Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master. Yes, that really works.